Echoing Jung's insight, the shadow is where the truth hides, and nothing ignites her shadow more than betrayal. You see, betrayal is not only a story of pain, not merely a wound in the heart. It is also a temptation, a secret doorway into the forbidden parts of her psyche. A man looks at betrayal and sees tragedy, but a woman in her hidden chambers feels something more dangerous stirring. It is the pulse quickening at the thought of what should never be touched. Think of secrecy as her chosen drug. What is hidden, what is cloaked in silence, intoxicates more than what is openly offered. It sharpens desire the way hunger sharpens taste. The unspoken is always sweeter, always more addictive than the words said out loud. And in her shadow, secrecy becomes more than a habit. It becomes the nectar that binds her to obsession. Every concealed glance, every unspoken thought builds a tension loyalty could never provide. Men are told that women long for loyalty, devotion, permanence, and yes, she may ask for it, she may even demand it, but beneath the surface, treason burns hotter than devotion ever could. Her body, her soul, her shadow responds to danger more than to safety. She wants to be loyal, but she dreams of secrecy, and it is in those dreams where her pulse begins to race, where she feels alive in ways loyalty can't awaken. You may not want to know this, but now that you've stepped in, you cannot turn back, because these truths are not meant for every man. They are whispers reserved only for those who dare to face the shadow, who dare to know the fire behind her smile. You are already inside the forbidden room and the door is closing behind you. Stay close. I'll take you deeper. We don't just scratch the surface. We dive into the fire. Since the beginning, betrayal has always worn a woman's face. Eve's bite into the forbidden fruit was more than disobedience. It was seduction disguised as rebellion, a whisper that forever changed the course of desire. Helen's allotment with Paris did not merely topple kingdoms, it revealed the irresistible pull of temptation, showing that beauty aligned with betrayal can command the fate of nations. And Salome, with her dance that led to the fall of a prophet, showed how allure and treason move together like shadows and fire. These are not accidents of history. They are patterns repeating across centuries woven into the very fabric of the feminine psyche. Betrayal is not simply a sin she stumbles into. It is an archetype, a secret role she has carried through time. Each story is a mirror reflecting not weakness, but design. Desire and destruction do not sit apart for her. They walk hand in hand, intertwined in ways men often fear to admit. And you must understand this. When she leans toward betrayal, it is not only for escape or conquest. It is because some hidden part of her longs to awaken the shadow, to feel the surge of power that comes when boundaries collapse. Betrayal in her archetypal form is not chaos, but transformation. It is how she reminds herself that she holds the ability to create and to undo, to give life and to take it away, to ignite love and to extinguish it in the same breath. So the question lingers heavier now than before. If this archetype has lived since the first stories were told, if betrayal has always been her secret inheritance, then is she still carrying it now? Even in the moments she smiles at you, swearing her loyalty, does she conceal the archetype beneath her softness, waiting for the moment it demands to be revealed again? This is the shadow you were never meant to see. But once glimpsed, you cannot unsee it. And it leads us deeper still into the secret that makes betrayal not only inevitable, but intoxicating. Here is the forbidden truth. Secrecy makes her burn in ways loyalty never. Could loyalty may soon her heart, but secrecy awakens her shadow. What is hidden becomes intoxicating because it is rare, fragile, and dangerous. It carries the weight of risk, and with risk comes desire. Every concealed thought, every unspoken word glows hotter than the promises spoken aloud. She may never confess it, but what she keeps inside excites her far more than what she lays bare. Think of the difference between a touch in the open and a touch in secret. In the open, it is affection. In secret, it becomes conspiracy. A glance across a crowded room, if acknowledged, is harmless. But if held in silence, it becomes a ritual, a binding spell known only to the two who share it. Secrecy transforms the ordinary into the sacred. It cloaks the smallest act in meaning, making her heart race, her breath catch, her hunger deepen. You may imagine secrecy as a wall between you and her, but it is not. It is an embrace, the darker, tighter embrace of what must not be revealed. Secrecy holds her more firmly than loyalty ever could because it makes every heartbeat feel like a transgression, every thought like stolen fruit. It sharpens desire into obsession. It teaches her that what she hides is more alive than what she shows. And in her private shadow, she discovers herself again and again, not in the safety of loyalty, but in the danger of what is concealed. The truth is that secrecy is not simply the mask she wears. It is the pulse beneath the mask. It is the thrill of knowing something forbidden, the shiver of carrying a world within her that no one else can touch. And when secrecy becomes too heavy to hold, when the shadow demands release, betrayal blooms. Because secrecy is not passive. It is fertile, alive, dangerous. It is the soil where treason grows, the ground from which her shadow stretches toward the flame. So understand this. When she clings to secrecy, she is not merely protecting herself. She is feeding the hunger that will one day break free. Secrecy is her drug, her altar, her aphrodisiac, and betrayal. Betrayal is its inevitable bloom. Loyalty is a comfort. It is steady, dependable, like a warm fire that never changes its glow. It soothes her fears. It offers her safety. And for a time, she will rest in it. But loyalty alone cannot awaken her. Comfort does not stir the pulse. Predictability does not quicken the breath. The truth she will never speak out loud is this. It is betrayal that rouses her shadow. Betrayal that makes her feel hunted, dangerous, alive. Think of what loyalty gives. Peace, stability, the quiet rhythm of devotion. She values it. Yes, she may even cling to it. But in the silence of her shadow, she aches for something loyalty cannot give. Betrayal carries the sharpness of danger, the forbidden sweetness of risk. It is the sudden shiver that tells her she is still alive, still desired, still powerful enough to undo what was thought unshakable. Betrayal is the crack in the glass, the edge of the knife, and it is there in the rupture that her heart races faster than it ever could in peace. Here is the forbidden paradox. She will praise your devotion with words. She will honor your loyalty with gestures. But in the secret chambers of her shadow, she craves the fire of treason. Because betrayal is not only about destruction, it is about intensity. It does not erase love. It magnifies it with risk. It turns affection into obsession, turning softness into a fever that loyalty could never summon. And this is why men are left in torment. Loyalty offers them peace, but betrayal entangles them in obsession. Loyalty lulls a man into calm. Betrayal consumes him in fire. Which would she choose? The quiet certainty of safety or the intoxicating blaze of danger? The answer is not spoken, but it lingers in her eyes in the rhythm of her silence. Understand this. When she is drawn to betrayal, it does not mean she wants love to die. It means she wants love to feel alive again, to throb with risk, to breathe in shadows where desire is sharpest. Betrayal is not an ending, but a transformation, a dark mirror that reveals the hunger peace can never touch. So when you imagine her loyalty as her crown, remember in her shadow it is betrayal that wears the throne. Here is the paradox most men will never dare to face. Betrayal wounds her, and yet the wound itself intoxicates. She feels the sting, yes, but she also feels a strange sweetness hidden inside that sting. The very cut becomes its own kind of pleasure. For her, betrayal is not only pain, it is proof. Proof that desire runs deep enough to shatter, strong enough to wound, irresistible enough to undo what reason tried to protect. You see, there is a quiet form of masochism woven into the feminine psyche, one most men never recognize. For her, humiliation is not always degradation. At times, it is unveiling. To be shattered is not simply to be broken. It is to be consumed, taken beyond herself, revealed in a rawness that devotion never dared to touch. The wound exposes something untouched by loyalty, something sharper, darker, more intoxicating than peace. In betrayal, she feels herself stripped bare, not in the safe way of love's promises, but in the dangerous way of love's collapse. It is a nakedness that cannot be staged, a vulnerability carved open by treason itself. And strangely, she does not resist the wound. Part of her leans into it, surrendering to the fire it brings because the pain makes her feel. It heightens her, awakens her, strips away the numbness of safety, and floods her with the rawest form of intimacy. You may think suffering makes her weak, but in her shadow, suffering is her secret pleasure. She will never admit it, not even to herself. Yet the truth remains. When betrayal pierces her, she drinks, the ache as though it were wine. She feels alive inside the agony, alive inside the unraveling. It is not weakness to crave the wound. It is hunger, the hunger to be touched by something so fierce it refuses to leave her whole. So understand this forbidden truth. Treason is not only her downfall, it is her ecstasy. The wound is not only what breaks her, it is what reveals her. And once she has tasted that intensity, the quiet comforts of loyalty may never feel the same again. Every woman carries a second life. Some live it boldly, most never act on it, but all of them dream it. This hidden existence doesn't require touch or confession. It thrives quietly inside her private theater. And in that theater, betrayal is always waiting because betrayal doesn't need to unfold in reality to intoxicate her. It can live entirely in fantasy and still make her pulse quicken as if the act itself had already happened. In this shadowed stage, she is both sinner and saint, both betrayer and betrayed. One moment, she is the one who strays, daring to abandon the safety of loyalty for the thrill of the forbidden. The next moment, she is the one undone, betrayed by another's treason, shattered by the sweetness of the wound. She plays every role because each one gives her something loyalty cannot: intensity. Her fantasies are not random. They are her way of touching edges she could never reach in the calmness of devotion. Even the thoughts she will never admit are a kind of treason. The fleeting images, the what-ifs, the silent games she plays with herself when no one is watching. All of these are betrayals in miniature. They are proof that her shadow lives restless and hungry. She doesn't need to act on them. The very fact that they exist, that she can return to them when the world grows too safe, is enough. And you already sense it, don't you? The smile she gives you is never only a smile. It hides entire worlds behind it, hidden scripts of desire she will never put into words. And it is not the sweetness of her smile that makes you crave her more. It is the secrecy, the knowledge that behind her calm exterior, she holds an entire empire of shadows you cannot control. That is the real addiction. So understand her double life is not weakness, not betrayal in the ordinary sense. It is the proof that the shadow is always alive even in her silence. And it is the secrecy of that hidden life, the thought of all you will never see that keeps you chained to her an obsession. Obsession does not grow in the light. It thrives in the dark corners where secrecy breathes. The moment something must be hidden, it becomes charged, electrified, impossible to forget. What is open is ordinary. What is concealed becomes unforgettable. Secrecy transforms affection into fixation, and in that shadow transformation, obsession is born. Betrayal, then, is not merely an act of lust. It is an act of power. To betray is to hold something dangerous, something forbidden in her hands. It is the rush of knowing she carries a secret strong enough to shift the balance of everything. Men fear betrayal because it strips them of control, because it whispers that power has slipped from their grasp. But for her, betrayal is arousal in its purest form. The thrill of wielding what cannot be spoken, the intoxication of holding fire in silence. This is why secrecy binds more tightly than honesty ever could. Honesty soothes, but secrecy chains. Two people sharing a secret are no longer simply lovers. They are conspirators bound by knowledge that belongs only to them. The weight of what must not be revealed ties them together in ways truth never could. Even silence becomes a bond, even glances become codes. Secrecy is not distance, it is a cage, and inside that cage, obsession only deepens. And here lies the forbidden truth you were never meant to know. Secrecy makes obsession mutual. The betrayer cannot let go of the thrill, and the betrayed cannot let go of the wound. Both are trapped, caught in the fire of what was concealed. Neither can escape because the shadow has already branded them. Once secrecy has been tasted, it cannot be forgotten. It lingers, haunting, addictive. It is not only the memory of the act, but the memory of the silence surrounding it. And once obsession has been awakened, both remain bound, not by honesty, not by trust, but by the very secrecy that first set them aflame. And now the circle closes. You see, betrayal was never truly the end of love. It has always been its dangerous intensifier. Love in its safety soothes her, but love, edged with treason, makes her burn. The wound of betrayal does not extinguish passion. It feeds it, turning devotion into something darker, sharper, more unforgettable. Secrecy is the stage upon which she performs her shadow. It is where glances turn into rituals and silence becomes a binding spell. But betrayal is the climax. It is the moment the hidden becomes unbearable. The moment secrecy blooms into fire. And in that fire, she feels more alive than loyalty alone could ever allow. Here is the last secret, the one she will never speak. She doesn't want betrayal. She will deny it. She will resist it. She will cling to loyalty with all her might. But in her shadows, she dreams of it. She imagines the rupture, the danger, the forbidden taste of treason, and though she may never act on it, the fantasy itself is enough to keep her bound to its fire. So tell me, would you rather be the one betraying or the one betrayed? Which role in her shadow do you fear, and which one do you secretly desire? If you want more of the truths no one else will dare whisper, subscribe now because here you are already inside the fire. We don't just scratch the surface, we dive into the fire.